Uh, Hi all. Uh, Today I'm going to talk about quantum computing. Why I'm doing this video? Because I are receiving different queries from different people about quantum computing. So I will. It will be a short, introduction, or you can say, a motivation to study quantum mechanics or quantum computing. So I will start now. So what is quantum computing? Okay. So without knowing itself, we have all been, almost all the engineers and who have studied chemistry, physics, everyone has been studying quantum computing or quantum mechanics. Okay, I will not say quantum computing. Quantum mechanics has been, people has been studying it for a long time. So we know, Pauli's exclusion principle. There are something like, what is a subatomic particle cannot be in the same spin state. Okay, that we have studied, maybe in our 12th class or something. And so spin, okay, and superconductors. Many of us know, superconductors, bullet train, how it levitates, and the superconductors will expel, the magnetic field from them. So generally, there are two types: type one, type two, and type 2 will be, it will have some magnetic flux. And type 1 will not have any magnetic flux inside that, or it will have a magnetic flux just to oppose the magnetic flux being, pushed to it. Okay. So why I am telling this, what I want to convey is that, most of us has already have the basics, okay, to proceed with the quantum computing. Okay. So why computing is so interesting or so exciting for everyone? It is because of the, the logical operations can be done with the quantum bits. So the quantum bits are called qubits. Okay. So there are two parts. One is how the qubits are sustained and created, and it's like, you're actually, you are rubbing a woolen cloth. Okay, woolen cloth on a rubber. Okay, or a PVC pipe. Okay, a pipe, polyvinyl chloride pipe. So you know that the static electricity will be there. Okay, it will be there until you touch it. So when you touch it, that is gone. So like that, for sustaining the quantum bits. Okay, like, you are you most of us know about the transistor. Okay, or a diode. Okay, so the in the computers, okay, they are storing the charge. Okay, or they are storing the bits in form of the charges. So you are actually storing charges, and inside CMOS, okay, or any different type of gallium arsenide or different type of semiconductors. That charge stored is actually representing our bit. Okay, so we are saying bit is 0, bit is 1. So it will be like, some kind of a switch is open or switch is closed, and this opening and closing of switch is actually nothing but the flow of charges are allowed or not. So this construction of a transistor is not a thing everyone is bothered about. Okay, only few people are bothered about how a transistor is constructed. Okay, internally how it works. Similar is the case with quantum computing also. Okay, the quantum mechanics field. Okay, and the intricacies involved in the quantum mechanics field, not everyone is bothered about. The computing community will be mostly bothered about how the quantum computing is applied to the computing paradigms. So currently we are working with bits. It has a state of 0 and 1. Okay, quantum bits can have multiple states. Okay, it's like, with one or two quantum bits, or four quantum bits, you can do a lot of operations compared to the normal bits. And this is because there are fundamental principles in quantum mechanics. Okay, that is being applied to the quantum computing. So that, I think most of us have studied about uncertainty principle. Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. They know you cannot actually measure, position and momentum of a particle at the same time. And some of us know about the Schrodinger's cat. It's like, suppose you are, you have some, what you say, some poisonous gas, inside a chamber, and that chamber, you put a cat actually, and at some point of time, that gas may leak and the cat may die, and the box is closed. So someone looking from outside, he cannot say that, whether the cat is dead or alive. So it's like, the Schrodinger's cat, they say, it's like half dead and half alive. So why this is a nice example to demonstrate the quantum states is that until unless we measure a quantum state, we don't know, okay, exactly what was the state. This was the case, but nowadays with the advent of technology, okay, the process of storing these quantum bits, okay, that is like either using superconducting materials or spin of the subatomic particles. This technology has been improving tremendously. Okay, so now we are able to store the quantum bits or qubits. Okay, next step is that we have the qubits. Now we should know how to operate with them. Okay, so this requires a shift in our thinking. Okay, instead of thinking if else, on off kind of a thought process, we have to think in terms of probability, little bit. Okay, what is the chance that something can happen or something cannot happen. So why this is useful is that the amount of computation, like can be achieved with very few quantum bits, is very high. So they call it the quantum supremacy. Okay, like a classical computer, what it takes for years and years, or a supercomputer, what it takes years for a supercomputer to achieve, can be achieved with a quantum computer. That is because the quantum bits, qubits, is the key for quantum computing. Then, like everything, okay, like you have the bits. Initially, you had the Boolean logic. I think Claude Shannon, okay, what he did, he applied the Boolean logic to communication system. That is a fundamental paper of foundational paper of Claude Shannon, okay, which revolutionized the field. That he applied the Boolean logic, okay, which was recently discovered before his time, to digital circuits or communication theory. This caused the whole revolution. Big firms and everything came out of these simple concepts. Okay, so currently what we have is that we have the qubits. So we have something which Shannon encountered in the first place. He had the bits, Boolean logic, 0 and 1, okay, and he spawned an entire field, and we have all these communication devices, 4G, 5G, etc., etc., etc. But now we have the qubits, so everything has to be reworked. That's why we have different fields. Quantum information theory. We already have the information theory field. Information theory is already matured field. But when the quantum bits coming into picture, that also gets changed. So everything has to be ported. You can say ported to the quantum field. Okay. So our programming style has to change. Our understanding about the bits and logic has to be changed. Our circuits will change. Our computing process. Okay. Suppose currently you are thinking you have deep learning model. Okay, and the deep learning model is taking maybe 3 hours to train. Imagine you are training it in 1 millisecond. Think that how much more possibilities it will open up. Other than that, okay, now currently people say, okay, the main application about quantum computing is that for solving to finding new molecules and new chemicals, etc. The thing is that that's also physics, little bit physics is involved. Okay, there is some binding energy calculations are there. So how a molecule will be binded to another molecule, or how the atomic particles will be bounded to the molecule. All these are requires a lot of calculation. Okay, which is a suitable binding energy. What type of bond can be formed if a different type of binding energy is present. All these things requires intense computing power. So quantum computing is a promise, okay, for a bright future where these challenging tasks, okay, can be immediately solved. And the thing is that new problems comes up. Think about world's data. Okay, world's data is I think petabytes per day or per hour. I am not very sure, but that much data processing is required now. Okay, but maybe with advent of quantum computer you can easily process it. So now more capability you have, more ideas will come up. Okay, that is what people say that it's strategically important. And important for individual also, important for countries also, important for organizations also. Okay, to know about it, to understand about it. It's not that complex. It's not something which cannot be cracked actually. So currently I am undergoing IBM qubit by qubit IBM course actually, quantum computing course. Currently at this level I find it that for an electrical engineer, okay, I am an electrical engineer from background. You can say electronics engineer plus a communication master's degree. I am feeling it that whatever I study about quantum computing is actually, I can say it's not complex. It's like whatever I have studied in the past only I am relearning it. Okay, so but this might not be the case with everyone. But I am sure that this is not an uncrackable nut. Quantum computing can be simplified. It can be easily understood, provided you go through the right channels and you understand the right approach. So I would request people to brush up little physics. Okay, there are a lot of online courses and stuff available with quantum computing, and do not get disheartened by the math involved. Okay, that's actually symbols. Okay, people are not everyone is comfortable with symbolic math. I perfectly understand that, but still, it's like it's actually easy. Only thing is that you should start looking into it. There should not be any stigma about looking into quantum computing as such. Thank you. So okay, I'll not I'll so I missed the introduction part. My name is Anil. Okay, and I am a quantum computing enthusiast, and I like to I want people to reach their full potential through learning. That's a general personal objective which I have in putting this video. Thank you.